Hello everyone, I'm Alfian and today we are going to solve the Hackerrank challenge on the React topic. And for the challenge we are going to solve the item list manager that you are tasked with creating a simple React application called the item list manager that displays a list of items and allows users to add new items to the list. The items will be displayed in an unordered list or the UL tag, and there will be an input field along with a button to add new items to this list. So for those who don't know, it is the preview pane on the right side of the window, and for the middle side it's the editor window, and then on the left side is the description and requirement window. And we can switch the tab to the app.js. And for those who don't know React yet, the React has a hook, or the hook, the special function called the useState, and the useState hook is using the constant, and it's the destructuring, like destructuring an array. For this first element, it's the property itself or the variable, and for the second element is the function to mutate or modify the variable value right here. So for the, let's say if we have items variable, then we can also just set items to mutate the items. And for the useState, and for the initial value, it's an empty array. For the second one, it's the input variable, and this is the set input, which is the function to change the input, and the initial value is an empty string. So this is the function that we need to write right here, the called the handle add item function, using the arrow function instead of the old function or the old school function. And for this return, this is the special tag called the Hackerrank navbar, which is right here, this item list manager, and this is the built-in Hackerrank specialized tag. And the environment, it's the item list, which is the header tree, and just like the usual HTML. And this is the input form, the type of text, and the value is the input variable right here, will be stored right here. It's the useState variable. And for the onChange property of the input, then we can take the e, and then we can use the set input function to store the current value inside this inner item. Let's say we use the item as the item, and then the onChange value will be triggered, and then the value will be stored, the value of input, which is input variable right here, will be stored as a string of items because of the e, target, and value that takes the value properties. So this is the data test ID property that it's used right here to run the test and test to see if we met all the criteria. And it's the handle button click to handle add item that triggers this arrow function right here. And then we can, after we add an item, then the item will be rendered right here below the add item button as the list item, and then this item will be mapped right here with the items.map to render the item from the items list of array, and then it will be listed right here or tabulated as the list of item, and then this is the index. So without further ado, let's write this out. In order to change the items or mutate the items, we can use the set items, and then in the useState function or the useState hook, we cannot directly mutate this array like set items, and then we can write these the input that takes the input like this, and then we can add another from the previous. Mutating directly like this, it's prohibited or it's not the best practice, so instead we can use the previous as the parameter on the callback function, and then for this, and then for the previous we can spread the previous value from the array, and then using the comma, and takes the input to the end of the array, because if we add a new item, let's say item 1 to the list and then add item, it will be placed right here like this, item 1, and then if we place the input right here after the spreading previous, after we spread the previous value as the new array, and then putting an input right here on the back of the previous items, then for the item 1, if we insert the item 2, it will be placed below the item 1 like this, and then if we place the input and then placing the previous previous array after the input, then if we add item 3, then let's say for the initial value we have item 1, if we add item 3 instead of writing after the item 1, it will be written before the item 1. So let's undo this. Can use previous comma item the input item base manager, the requirement when the button is clicked, the text from the input should be added to the list right here, add to the list of array. The input field should be cleared, so the input, to clear the input, we can use set input and then just mutate it directly using the empty string. It's okay since it's a string, not the array. So let's run this to see if it works. It adds normal item but does not add empty item to the list. So for the one error, like we can add item, then item 2 is placed below as expected. So for the test, one fails, which is if we add empty item, it will be added right here, but we don't want that to be added to the list, so we can add an if check. If the input is strictly equal to an empty string, the input variable right here, if it is in the input form, if it is, then we cannot add an item. So let's reload this. Let's add an empty input. it's still working instead of just check empty string. We can use the trim to check if the input trim and then length is not equals 0 but strictly not equal to 0. If it is, then we cannot add an item to the list, add an empty string to the list. Add item with using space will not be added, and then let's say using the item 1 or item 2. Let's run this to see if it works. You can leverage this empty string checker using the regular expression or something higher. Okay, so that's about it. I hope you enjoy this video. If you have any questions or if you have any better solutions, you can write in the comment section. I hope you have a great day, and I will see you on the next video. Goodbye.